Welcome back to Lehigh River Subdivision. I'm Ian. This is layout update number 4. Last time I did an update video, I was working on the framing for this peninsula section. I got that done, the plywood in place, the foam on top, cut it into a circle because I wanted to have a nice round edge to come around. And then in here I have a 45 to give an opening inside the inner part. You have some room to move around. There's 4 feet in between two sections. I cut plywood for the back wall section here and foam for this piece. None of that's fastened yet. I'm waiting for insulated rail joiners to come for the track that runs underneath in the back so I can set it up for blocks for the DCC. Once that's all done, I am going to fasten the top down. Underneath, we drilled through and got the switch wires down through for the 2 switches there, and then I started putting the DCC feeders in on this section of track down through. And there's the train in the hidden track. Nothing new on this section. It's kind of a workbench and track. This still gets another 3-foot section built to come out to meet where the stairs end. Let's see. I fastened all the grade in place, as you can see as well. And the grade starts all the way over here. This is the start. This is going to be Binghamton, New York. And it comes out of there. The switch is for a future staging yard over here on the back wall. It'll have the trains come out of here so they can start on the other side of the layout, which will be Lehighton, Pennsylvania. Or they can go this way and start Binghamton, New York. And it comes down around here. It rises 2 inches. It's a 2% grade from Woodland Scenics. Right before the bridge, it levels out. I just used pieces of foam that I had left over from putting it down on the table, and pieces of 2-inch foam I had. This is just a temporary bridge for now. The bridge is in the garage. I painted it today, but it needs a few more coats. This is just 2 inches here. It stays flat. I made these curves. First I was using the foam cutter, but it kind of took longer than what I felt like waiting for. So what I came up for that is this saw with the battery in it sits perfectly flat. I just pull the trigger and feed the pieces down on the saw. A small piece of foam laying around, and I just hold it against and keep my fingers away so I don't cut them. That's a big plus, and something you want to make sure you're doing when working with saws. So I would just cut my grooves in so it would be like the Woodland Scenics. That way I could bend them in the curves, because this is a lot cheaper to cut it out of this foam than buy the Woodland Scenic stuff for the flat part. The grade starts again here in the bend, climbs the last 2 inches over to here. Somewhere in here is going to be the start of a small yard. It's probably going to be Taylor Yard, which is outside of Scranton. We'll have Scranton, Wilkes-Barre. Over here we'll move into Whitehaven, Lehigh Gorge, and then all the way back around to Lehighton. So that is the progress that was made this weekend. Let me just check. I had a list here. Yep, that's everything for that I accomplished this weekend. I'm actually really happy with how everything's turning out. Oh, I do have these foam dividers cut. They're not in place. I got to get wooden dowels. I'm going to drill a hole into the foam, put the wooden dowel, drill a hole in that, slide it down. It should hold in place really well. They're 2 foot high. They almost come up to the ceiling. And those will be everywhere on these two sections. That back section, the whole thing's scenery. And then what we'll do is I'm gonna run a train up the grade to the back there. I just put some track temporarily across the platform, and we'll give that a check it out and see how the train handles the 2% grade. Okay, here we are waiting for it to come out of the staging area or the hidden track. It's basically a return loop, so it can be run as a point to point, or so I can run trains continuously in a loop. We got the Lehigh Valley, Fox Valley models, GE, with the New Jersey Central SD70 Ace on the front, pulling 30 cars up to 2% grade. By themselves, each engine can only pull 12 cars up this grade. On the flat, they can pull somewhere around 25. So the grade makes a huge difference. But the two of them together are able to handle 30 freight cars. And the last of the train's coming around the corner down there. And it's heading for the horseshoe bend right here. It's coming up on the hardest part of the grade here where it comes out of the horseshoe. It kind of has a little bit of an S bend. So this is where it reaches the hardest part, because by themselves they actually can pull 14 cars up to this point. But because of the way it bends through here, it reduces it by 2 more cars. And you can see the end of the train's coming across where the bridge would be right now. And that's a slow crawl up 2% grade. So there you have it, 30 car freight train. It just reached the top of the 2% grade. It's on the flat. Sure is nice to see a 30 card trade be able to roll that far. So there you have it. That's my update for this weekend, and I got to order some stuff so I can make some progress next weekend. It all depends on if the stuff comes or not and how much I'll get done next weekend, but I hope to have a update again next week for you guys. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed. Have a good night.